John felt a shiver crawl up his spine. Dust particles danced in the weak beam of his torch. Cobwebs clung to his face. John was exploring his attic, a place untouched for years, a forgotten world of shadows and whispers. He coughed, waving away the dust. Something glinted in the corner, not gold, but brass. He brushed away the dust, revealing a strange contraption. It had dials and levers, ticking like a giant clock. Intrigued, John reached out. A jolt, a flash of light. John stumbled back, dropping the device. The attic, once familiar, seemed to warp and twist around him. He felt a strange sensation, like falling but not falling. What had he stumbled upon? The air crackled with energy, the attic vanishing as quickly as it had changed. John found himself standing in a place he couldn't recognize. The air was different. Smells, sounds, all unfamiliar. He was no longer in his attic. He was somewhere else. Somewhere else in time. John's heart hammered in his chest. Fear, raw and potent, threatened to overwhelm him. He looked around, desperately seeking something familiar. But everything was alien. Stone buildings reached for the sky, taller than any he'd ever seen. Strange vehicles, unlike anything John recognized, sped past. People in bizarre clothing walked by, their words a confusing jumble. His senses were overloaded. The sights, the sounds, the smells, everything screamed of a world unknown. He had traveled through time. The impossible had become terrifyingly real. John felt a wave of nausea. He needed to get back, but how? The device lay shattered in his attic, lost in time. Panic welled up, threatening to consume him. He needed to stay calm, think rationally, but how could he be rational in the face of the impossible? He was a man lost in time, a castaway on the shores of the unknown. Days turned into weeks. John, with a mix of trepidation and exhilaration, began to explore this new reality. The time travel device had transported him to the year 2087, a world vastly different from his own. He learned to navigate the bustling, futuristic city, marveling at the technological advancements. But John craved more than just the future. He yearned to witness the past, the history he had only read about in books. Using the remnants of the time travel device, he managed to cobble together a rudimentary control panel. It was risky, unpredictable, but it offered a chance to see the world. He stood before the Colosseum in ancient Rome, feeling the thunder of chariot wheels race across the arena. He traveled to Egypt, gazing in awe at the towering pyramids, monuments to a time long gone. With each jump, John felt a profound connection to history, a sense of wonder that filled him with a childlike joy. He was a time traveler, a witness to the grand tapestry of human history. But with each leap through time, the weight of his situation, of being untethered from his own time, grew heavier. The thrill of time travel began to wane. The constant shifting, the uncertainty of his situation wore on John. Loneliness gnawed at him. He was a ghost, drifting through time, unable to form lasting connections. The faces he encountered, the friendships he fleetingly formed, faded with each passing journey. He carried the weight of his experiences, the memories of vanished empires and forgotten wonders. The world he knew, his time, seemed like a distant dream, a place he might never see again. The fear, once a fleeting shadow, became a constant companion. He had seen the rise and fall of civilizations, witnessed humanity's triumphs and follies. He had looked into the eyes of emperors and paupers, felt the pulse of history beneath his fingertips. But through it all, a single searing question burned in his mind. Was there a place for him in the vastness of time? John found himself standing before the familiar, dusty confines of his attic. The air was thick with the scent of aged wood and forgotten memories. He looked down at his hands, no longer calloused from his travels through time. Had it all been a dream? The time travel device lay in pieces on the floor just as he had left it. He reached down, picking up a gear, the metal cold against his skin. It was real. The journeys, the wonders, the heartache, it had all been real. He emerged from the attic, blinking in the warm light of his living room. The world was familiar, comforting. He sank onto the sofa, a wave of exhaustion washing over him. He was home. John looked at a framed photograph on the mantelpiece, a picture of him and his family. He smiled, a genuine smile for the first time in what felt like forever. He had journeyed through time, witnessed the impossible, but it was the ordinary, the love of family and the comfort of home, that anchored him to the present. He was no longer the same man who had stepped into the attic all those years ago. He was home, changed by his journey, but home nonetheless.